Welcome back to Conrad's Crypto. I believe this is the second video. And this format is just more of a sit down talk. I got a slideshow. This one took a lot of time just to put together. It's basically an overall, just macro picture, what's going on in crypto right now. We're going to talk about why this could be a local top, how Memecoin rallies they've typically marked local tops, and we're going to talk about overall markets. We're going to talk about altcoins, what's going to happen with those, what's been happening. Bitcoin has been doing really well, or alts have been bleeding on their pairs, and we're going to talk about the halving and just overall the recession a little bit, and just overall where is the market going to go. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Look at some on-chain metrics, local top, and why Bitcoin is remaining the king. All right. So the first thing that we are going to look at today is meme coins, why meme coin cycles are typically local top signals. We're going to look at the total 3 market cap. Alts are going to continue to bleed and could repeat what they did in late 2018. The third thing we're going to look at is the halving and Bitcoin, and when does it bottom and what leads up to most halvings. My bad. Fourth, when to buy. When will we bottom? Is it going to be 2023, 24, 25? We're going to talk about that a little bit. An overall macro view, interest rates, banks, and how it affects crypto. And my plan and what I'm going to be looking for in the upcoming months. One of my favorite content creators in the space, Memecoin, just talked about him in my last TikTok video. Really, really good. Check him out. But one of my favorite sayings from him regarding altcoins, especially for the last few months, has played out beautifully, is why take on more risk for less returns? Just market cap wise, Bitcoin, so much bigger than these other alts, obviously way less risky, but we're going to look at some pairs and we're going to see that they've been bleeding. Bitcoin has been outperforming and it has been Bitcoin season. Nobody's really talking about it though. But we're not going to talk about, what's been happening. We're going to talk about, where are we going? What's going to happen in the future? As we all know, markets have been frothy, to say the least. I'm sure if you're in the space, you have seen Pepe. You've seen this crazy run up here. I think it almost got up to a 2 billion market cap. Pretty crazy. We're seeing a large blow off top here. I still wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Just not my type of game, to be honest. And with that blow off top, we're gonna look at if this is if Memecoin the cycle that we were just in is over, what typically happens after, and even if it isn't over, it's not gonna last a lot longer. These only last a few weeks. It's been a few weeks. Maybe Pepe's got another leg up, but I doubt it. So, I mean, look at Dex tools. So many new pairs are still being created. Even with Pepe topping out, still big gainers. I mean, you're seeing, look at these daily gainers, 10,000%, 1,000%, like it's nothing. Doing a little, 10, 100x, no biggie. People are gambling. People are going to lose money. They're going to get rugged. So that's still going strong, which is playing into my thesis for DEX tools. So if we look at the price of DEX tools, we can see that it's been doing really well. I talked about it in my TikTok video, link in the description if you want to check it out. Basically a bet on meme coins. So we're going to see, if this guy keeps on running, keep you guys updated. But yeah, markets have been frothy. There's been several other altcoins that they've made runs up to easily 10 million. 10 million is nothing. Those are happening every single day. You're seeing 50, 100 mil, Turbo, Ben, just to name a few, going crazy. And yeah, they're still just continuing to absolutely run. But what happened last time that meme coins got hot? I'm going to show you. Last time they peaked in about May of 2021. And that was when you saw the big run up for Doge, Shiba, and some other tokens with some interesting names to say the least. Safe Moon. So it topped out on the 11th of May. Come Rocket, really good name to be honest. 5th of May it topped out, and Dogecoin topped out 8th of May, and Shiba did have a secondary run, but the local top was May 10th. So we're kind of seeing this May 5th to 15th area. That kind of week was when we saw markets top. And let's look at Bitcoin's price. If we take that week just before it happened, that was the top. That was the top for a few months. So I'm not feeling too good about it. I think when peak degeneracy happens like that, it's not a good thing for the market. It means maybe we moved up too quickly. And you're going to talk about this later, but with the macro environment going on right now, you're just not going to see a big bull run for Bitcoin. It could go up to 30, 40, 50K maybe if we're lucky. But higher highs are getting above that 64, 69K range. It's going to take a big catalyst for that to happen, and I just don't see it happening anytime soon. And you can already see the chart isn't looking too good. That weekly candle is an engulfing candle, which is traditionally bearish. It doesn't turn out very well most of the time. See a market cipher B on the bottom there. We have bearish divergence. We have price getting higher here. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, normally I would enter a short, but I think that I might have missed a good entry for that one. So it's Bitcoin season. It's been Bitcoin season, and nobody has been talking about it. And since October of 2022, it's been outperforming the major alts. You can see that if you look at the total market caps, look at the total 3 versus just the total, and it's just been booming. And so one of my favorite indicators I like to look at is the altcoin season website. Search it up, it'll come up. I think that's, if you search it, I'm not sure if that's the exact name, search it up, this will come up, and you can check out this chart. And basically what this looks at is in the top 100, how many altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin in a given day, week, whatever time period you want. And you can see we've had this since 2018, and you can see, this Memecoin rally right here, it marked the top here. But we were less developed at that time, and I think there was a lot more capital in the markets. So this meme coin run, alts didn't follow. It was just purely meme coins, and only Pepe made it into the top 100. It might stay there, maybe it won't. I think eventually it'll probably drop out, but Doge and Shiba seem to always, rear their head, and they don't seem to go away. So we'll see what happens with Pepe. But again, so basically this is measuring how many of the top 100 coins are outperforming Bitcoin. So right now you can see there's only four coins in the top 100 have been outperforming Bitcoin. And you can see pretty much from around this point, around October, it's been less than 50. And so that's when the tides turn, and you're not making a lot of money on your alts. They're going to bleed compared to their Bitcoin pairings. You're going to lose some value compared to Bitcoin. If you had it in Bitcoin, you would keep that value. In Satoshis, your value is going to be going down. It's important to preserve that power, and that's all I've been in since about the beginning of the year. I'd say February. All I've been in is Bitcoin. I've made a few speculative plays in and out on some altcoins, but I rotated from my Ethereum bag to Bitcoin in about February, January, and that's been working out for me well. I haven't made a lot of money, but I would have lost a lot more if I did stay in those alts. And Ether Bitcoin has also been bleeding. Might get into that in a later video. Yeah, Bitcoin season. So now we're gonna look at the Bitcoin halving. How can we play the halving? Is it a buy the rumor, sell the news? And when do we bottom? When are we gonna be buying? So this is a great chart. This was taken from Benjamin Cohen. Shout out to him. So this is these blue lines you can see here, they indicate when the halving happens. And so if you look closely, I mean, you can see that we bottom typically before the halvening and in the months leading up to the halvening. The only real exception here is the Black Swan event caused by the COVID restrictions in March of 2020. You can see that dip. You know, I'm not expecting another Black Swan event. You could price it in. But again, it's amazing buying opportunity. So I would just be buying, not financial advice. Everything in this video is not financial advice. And if you want financial advice, go to a financial advisor. But this is just for me personally, what I'm doing. And yeah, I would treat that as a major buying event, and that was why I think when we went down to 15, 16K, a lot of people capitulated then. We stayed there for a little bit. I thought we were going to stay there for longer. But yeah, we normally bottom a few months going out. And so I think that process has already happened. Let me pull out my chart here. A little bit messy, but I think that this could very well be the bottom. And, we could retest 19, 20K. Maybe we'll even come all the way back down. And again, if we do make lower lows and we revisit, this 15K range, again, I think that's an amazing buying opportunity. For something like that to happen, it's gonna be a Black Swan event. I can tell you that. So yeah, I'm personally eyeing up 20 to 21K to add to my Bitcoin position. And right now, I'm watching to see how it's reacting around 24 to 25K. That's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I'm looking to reduce my exposure a little bit, and then we'll go from there. But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So typically, again, we're bottoming a few months before, and the halving is coming up. When is the next Bitcoin halving? And we can see that it's April 27th, 2024. So that's about 10 months. So we're a few months out. But again, typically, let's go back to this chart. We bottom a few. I mean, in this case, it was almost a full year before, excluding the Black Swan event. And again, here we're looking at almost exactly a year before. So considering we're at that 8-9 month range, the bottom would have been in, if we're looking at exactly a year, around 3 months ago. And where were we? About 3 months ago, 90 days. It's not working with me here, but we were, roughly around this range. It's not going to be perfect. But a year and 2 months, we were at this 16, 15K range. So I very well think that the bottom could be in for Bitcoin. Again, if a Black Swan event happens, then I'm probably going to be wrong, but I don't think the bottom is in for altcoins, and I don't think it's in for Ethereum. Ethereum, maybe because of the market cap, it might not just, set any lower lows, but I think we're going to revisit these lows. I think we're going to get that $1,000 Ethereum, and I'm going to be a buyer at 3-digit Ethereum for the next bull market. So again, normally, a year before we bottom, that would have been 16K. So again, I'm going to treat that as an amazing buy opportunity if we get back to 16K. And that's what I would do. And Bitcoin is an obvious momentum shift upwards. So play that. Don't fight the trend. The trend is your friend. I'm sure you've heard that before. So if, dips are for buying in an up market. Are we in a bull market? I don't think so. But again, I think the bottom is in. And are we amidst a recession? Regional banks are still looking like a very big issue. I believe Suncor a few days ago, they just went down. And you're seeing, the big 4 or 5 banks in the US absorbing these banks. They're buying them at distressed prices. Put on your tinfoil hat there. You could come up with a pretty good theory about, why this is all happening. And it's interesting. I don't know. I think this is also poor management. Just found out that I think the average is 10 notices for banks in the US. I'm not sure if that's just regional, but I think it's about 10 notices that the average bank has, and warnings for, for them to change their actions, or if the government sees certain issues, they'll issue them a warning. The average bank has 10 warnings. This is places that have billions of your dollars. You don't want to see that being mismanaged. Is it contained? We don't know. Either way, I look at that as a bullish event for Bitcoin. If banks failed, that was kind of when we saw that move up from 20 to 25K. That was amidst the USDC depeg. That was a very good time to buy. And a lot of people went into Bitcoin because they didn't want to be, first of all, in stable coins. But secondly, that was when the banks started to collapse. And I think a lot of people started to think about that. And, you always want access to your money. Thankfully, FDIC stepped in. They insured all the accounts, even the ones that were over 250K, to try to limit the contagion. And they said it's contained. It's all good, but it hasn't been. Several banks have failed since then, and I think they're going to continue to fail. And this is what I mean. Either way, it's good for Bitcoin. If they continue to fail, Bitcoin will go up. If people get debanked, they're going to go to Bitcoin. And that's what I think. And even if banks, even if they don't fail, I think that Bitcoin still has a lot to gain here, from these banks. And you're seeing a large amount of inflows to the big banks. So, you're seeing, these are some of the biggest banks, and just very, very, very large inflows. And they're gaining all the liquidity from the smaller banks. Again, this is like, I don't know if it was just mismanagement, or if some rumors are starting that shouldn't be starting about insolvencies. But again, the big banks are buying up these banks at distressed prices. They get, not only that, but they're getting large inflows from people that are scared and they want to go to the big banks that are too big to fail. We'll see about that. So this is kind of leading into the next part with the rate hikes. And so this is what I mean by, I think Bitcoin will succeed either way. If banks continue to fail, and they are, they're going to fail even more under the rate hikes. And what has happened when the past few banks have failed? US government has had to go and print money. And again, that's only been bullish for Bitcoin. You look at 2021, the bull market, when that started, that was when the M2 money supply almost went up vertically. And as soon as money is printed and it's entered the system, typically it tends to go towards risk assets. And so if the Fed is printing, cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin have always done extremely well. And I think that either way, we're going to see Bitcoin, succeed here. I think in a high interest rate environment, it's been doing well. And again, Bitcoin was born out of the 2008 financial crisis. It was born to circumvent banks. And, you're seeing the government doesn't like that. Banks don't like that. So they're trying to push back against it. But I think we're going to see 1 or 2 more rate hikes in the cards. A lot of investors seem to think so. The next Fed meeting, they're pricing in a 25-point basis hike. 0% chance, according to CME Group, that there's going to be no change. And there's even a 17.2% chance going to be a 50 basis point hike. Again, I only see Bitcoin coming out of this stronger. If they do either of these, they're going to put more banks under distress. And it's not going to be good. Either way, they're going to have to bail them out, and more money is going to be printed. And again, a sustained rate is even worse, because then you're going to see, these debts that the banks have taken on, they're going to roll into the new term, and they're going to have to then be priced at the new Fed fund rate. And I don't think that they're going to be able to take that. I don't think that, 550 basis points, again, with SVB, I believe it was, they saw a large influx of capital. and deposits from customers, they did 2% bonds they had to buy because they had too much money. They had to put it to work, and that's what banks do. But 2% bonds, when the interest rate's at 5%, you're underwater. You're losing money. And then, that's how insolvency issues happen. That's how bank runs happen. So we'll see. But when do we buy and what do we buy? So we talked about Bitcoin and when that bottoms, but typically altcoins don't really tend, you don't see that altcoin party starting until Bitcoin is making higher highs. And that's, really when you see altcoins start to go crazy. But again, you don't want to be late. You want to be early. You want to have some Bitcoin, you want to have some altcoins. That's where the gains are to be made. Every coin that rallied in 2021, 2022, they were typically, they were born in 2016, 17, 18. Sorry, just some technical difficulties there. Right back into it though. So, altcoins, they still tend to not do too well until Bitcoin's making higher highs. So, but we also want to get into altcoins. We want to see that before that happens. And I think I've actually gone a little bit ahead of myself here, and I haven't talked about the total 3 chart. And this is probably the biggest thing that I want to talk about in this video. This again, I saw Benjamin Cowan post about this, and this is just, he's been bang on. What can I say? When somebody's on, you got to give him credit. And yeah, I'm, fully go check out his channel. It's totally his idea, but I recreated it here. So, again, we saw this kind of degeneracy. We saw an altcoin run here in 2018 going into November. And, this drawdown, it just looks like, a healthy correction and we're bottoming. But I think we're doing that process right now. And this drop, it was 60%. And so that was a very big drop for alts, and Bitcoin also dropped. But again, what's going to be dropping more? It's going to be those alts. It's going to be alts. And that's just how market caps work. It's not going to be the same percentage. Again, why are you taking on more risk for less returns? So I think that the same thing is going to happen here. I think it's going to be a 61% drop. And we're already seeing it start to play out. I first talked about this before we actually printed this green candle here, but the same thing is happening. There's a fake out where, you break above that trend line, but you don't do the weekly close. We're on the weekly time frame, and you don't see that weekly close. And if we were to see a 61% drop, this would put the total 3 at 150 billion. And that would kind of be in line with this general trend that we've seen. It doesn't have to touch it, but it's probably going to come towards it. And, from this point, go a little sideways before we see that next run up, in the next bull run. So that's what I'm watching. I wish I'd made this video 2 weeks ago because, since I've been talking about this, altcoins have dropped 10%, total 3. So, we're going to keep an eye on that, and, we'll look into it. So again, the number one thing is that altcoins, don't touch them. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they are going to remain king. And I think that you're going to want to start to scale into some altcoin positions. When you see Ethereum around 1200, I think that, again, we never really properly retested this breakout. You could draw it 2 different ways. And again, so I'm looking for $1,200, sub $1,200 Ethereum. Ideally, I think you're going to see it retest, these lows. And again, this would still be bullish structure. This would still be higher highs. I think that's totally in the cards, totally reasonable. And I think, we see, bear market rallies. This has been a 137% move to where we are right now, exactly 100% of 2x. And yeah, so I think, when this comes down here, that is when I would be entering into some alt positions. And again, this drawdown, that would be about 50%, 40%. Ethereum is not going to draw down as much as these other alts are. So I think that lines up really well with our expected, from here. I think we got another 50%, call it, drop. Oh, still, 55% drop down to that $150 billion range. So yeah, that's essentially it for this video. Just some things to keep in mind. I'm going to try to do some more videos like this. It takes a while to put together, but that's kind of my overall view on crypto right now. It's a lot to take in, but I think when you're looking at overall markets, you need to look at the overall picture. So it's important to remember, I think we're still in a recession. And if we're not, we're heading into one. We're going to want to see commercial real estate. That's going to be the next domino, and used cars. That's what you're going to want to see. That's what happened in 08. If this is a true recession, you're going to want to see it. You're already seeing it with commercial markets. Look in Toronto, look in California. It's not looking good. And when those implode, they affect a lot of things, more than you would know. That's a whole different video. Maybe I'll get into it. But yeah, so that's essentially, recession, bases, the base point hike, banks. So again, the only, real bets that I feel comfortable taking is Bitcoin and maybe some Ethereum, maybe 75-25 split. Hedge if you're wrong, get some Ethereum outside or upside. But yeah, that's overall what I'm looking for. And about 1 to 4 months is when I would think about buying alts. It's a pretty big range, but again, it depends on how fast we drop. But it'll be cool to look back on this and see, if we were right. And yeah, so, after that 1 to 4 months, start DCAing some alts that you like. That can be a whole different video. Talk about something like Flow and Link. But yeah, so that's about it for today. I'll be uploading another video soon, probably on BRC20 ordinals. Those have been taken off. And yeah, that's it for today. And I hope you all have an amazing day. And check out my other socials. I got TikTok, Instagram. Start posting some stuff on Twitter soon. And yeah, that's it for today. And I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you soon.